Dogs are the purest form of love. But do dogs understand what we say? When a dog's owner instructs the dog to sit, it sits. And when he instructs to attack, the dog attacks. So is the dog capable of interpreting what its owner is saying, or is it just reacting to the hand gestures of the owner? You see, that's a $1,000,000 question. Scientists conducted a study with 12 dogs of varying breeds, wherein they were trained to fetch two different objects based on its name. They had to fetch a stuffed toy and a rubber ball at the request of their owners. Props were carefully chosen to facilitate discrimination. The training was agreed to be complete when the dogs consecutively were able to give the right objects to their owners. Subsequently, the dogs were placed in an fMRI scanner with their owners standing just in front of them. The owners announced the names of the props and then showed them to their dogs. They did this in set intervals. A golden retriever Labrador mix, for instance, heard his owner say the words piggy or ball, then his owner held up the matching prop. As a control, the owner then spoke gibberish words such as bobu and bobmick, then held up different objects like a hat or a doll. The results were astounding. It was found that the auditory regions of the brain of the dogs were highly activated when these vague words were said, compared to the words the dogs already knew. The researchers hypothesized that the dogs may show greater neural activation to a novel word because they sense their owners want them to understand what they are saying and they are trying to do so. Another research conducted by a research group based in Budapest used this training technique to do a study where they talked to 13 dogs while they were in the MRI scanner, unrestrained and happy. The researchers played these dogs a recording of their trainers praising them or saying neutral words, and then repeating each of these words in a praising tone or neutral tone. The researchers reported that dogs process words and their tone independently and on different hemispheres of the brain. Moreover, they found that the emotional cues like tone were processed on the right side of the brain while words were processed on the left side, just like humans. Because the left side of the dog's brain responded to praising words even when said in a neutral tone, the researchers concluded that dogs possess some ability to understand the meaning of the words. But in order for the dogs to find the praise rewarding, the words' meaning and tone needed to match. Only praising words said in a praising tone activated reward areas in the dog's brain. A research group in Atlanta that also studies brain activity in dogs posted a manuscript that supports the idea that dogs process language much differently than we do. Their study investigates lexical processing, the ability to tell words from pseudo-words, which are arrangements of syllables that represent words but have no meaning. In humans, activation of speech processing areas is typically higher when hearing a real word than when hearing a pseudo-word. But in dogs, it was found that, unlike humans, the speech processing area was more active when they heard words that they didn't already know. Dogs then may be more biased towards processing novel sounds, and this might explain why our friend Rico, the border collie, was so good at learning new objects in a group of familiar ones. The original study concluded that it was because he was able to infer the name of the new objects by excluding the familiar ones, a process called fast mapping. But an alternate hypothesis is that he was driven by an inherent preference for novelty. The researchers also found that regions of the dog's brain active during the task were more closely associated with actions than typical language processing regions in humans. This means that while dogs do seem to show some level of lexical processing, it is in a way that may be fundamentally different than in humans. Instead of a symbolic representation of a word like we do, dogs may associate words more strongly with actions. So here's how it goes. Just because the dogs may not process the meanings of the words in the same way that we do, doesn't mean they don't understand us in the same way. One thing the last two research have in common is that dogs find verbal praise rewarding. So go ahead and keep telling him what an adorable good doggy he is, because they understand every bit of it.